We never were told that it was going to be that much.
Special assessments and the staggering cost gripping condo owners across the state, some topping tens of thousands of dollars.
7 months ago, I told you that there was a storm coming to South Florida. I said there was a condo crisis of epic proportions. Well, that storm is here. How bad is it? How about a $225,000 assessment for one condo owner? We're going to talk about it today. Let's go. Hey everyone, I'm Palm Beach's Paul, your local realtor and guide to South Florida living, and welcome back to my channel. I'm crossing over the Linton Bridge here in Delray Beach. You can see behind me, we got the beautiful intercoastal over here. Back over here, we have lots of condos on the water. And if you look out that way down there, nothing but condos. Condos, condos, and more condos as far as the eye can see, going all the way down to Boca Raton. Now you can see the allure of buying a condo over here. That's the Intracoastal Waterway, and that's going south towards Fort Lauderdale and then eventually Miami. And you got these beautiful homes right down here in the water, and then further down there you have condos. And you know, you wake up and, well, the ocean's right over there, the Atlantic Ocean. If you're high enough up, you can see it. And other views have the view of the Intracoastal, nice water views, beautiful sunny day. You see all the boats going by, all the people on the boats. It's a lifestyle a lot of people have been attracted to for many years in South Florida. But as I said in my video 7 months ago, there was a storm coming, and a lot of those people who wanted to have that beautiful waterfront condo, well, they're paying the price for it now. But it's not just waterfront condos, it's any condo building that's 30 years and older, that is 3 stories or taller, or 25 years and older if it's within 3 miles of the ocean. And as I said, a lot of those buildings are getting hit with huge assessments, and they are ruining some people's lives.
Sleepless nights?
Sleepless nights? Every night. I don't know where we're going to live or how we're going to live.
And well, that's what we're going to talk about. So, you know, I made this video 7 months ago talking about this because I saw the things that were happening. I started to see the writing on the wall, and here we are in mid-July, and well, you're seeing it all over the news. Huge assessments affecting homeowners all over South Florida. Now, I do want to thank you guys because that condo crisis video went viral. It's sitting at 1.7 million views, and it really changed my YouTube channel for the better. And I thank you guys for that. But I do want to clarify that I am not a condo law expert, an HOA expert. I'm a realtor with True Floridian Realty here in Delray Beach. But my job is to try to inform you guys about things that are happening in the real estate market. And I saw back in December when I made that video that there were things happening. I started to see a lot of assessments. Recently, I went out with some buyers looking for condos, and almost every property we looked at had some assessment. Now, a lot of the assessments were small, maybe a couple $1,000s. We saw a few that were $15,000, but none like the ones I'm going to talk about in this video. But I bring this up so you guys realize that, hey, I'm trying to inform you about what's going on in the real estate market, but I'm not a lawyer and I don't work for an HOA or a condo board. So, you know, if you have specific questions, you know, reach out to a condo lawyer and ask them, an HOA lawyer or whatever, your real estate lawyer, or talk to the board directly. I'm just trying to provide the information that I'm seeing. But as I said, the assessments have gotten really bad. I mean, $250,000, how would you even deal with that? We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so let's go back to the beginning so I can tell you new folks that may have not seen that video what's going on here in South Florida. So in 2022, Florida passed a law that required condo buildings to have more safety assessments and inspections after the collapse of the Surfside condominium. So these inspections are called milestone inspections, and they're to be performed by engineers and architects on buildings that are 30 years and older every 10 years, or every 10 years for buildings that are 25 years and older and that are within 3 miles of the ocean. And for many of these condo buildings, these inspections are due by December 31st of this year, 2024. So a lot of them are scrambling, and a lot of them are finding out that after they do these milestone inspections that they have a lot of repairs that they neglected for many years, that maybe they voted against and decided they didn't want to do, and now they have to, or they'll face financial consequences. They can be heavily fined if they don't bring the money up, get the money in the reserves to address these issues for these condo buildings. And a lot of it has to do, obviously, for safety concerns for the buildings, so we don't have another collapse. So up until 2022, condo associations were not required by Florida law to have reserve studies. So what would happen? Well, if you watch my last video, it goes something like this. We need a new roof, and it's gonna cost $1 million. And the board takes it and tells all the condo owners that, hey, we need an assessment to cover a new roof, and it's $1 million, and we're gonna assess everybody $10,000. Well, they could put that to vote. And what do you think most of those people did?
And keep going.
Go get it and do it again.
Kick.
I'm moving next year. I'm old and I might not even be alive next year or whatever. They voted no. They voted down. They kicked the can, as they like to say. Well, guess what? The can has officially stopped, and those people living in the condos now, well, they're screwed, because they're gonna have to pay for all the years of neglect that should have been addressed but wasn't. And that's what's going on right now. Now, there were a lot of comments in my condo crisis video from people that said, well, if you own a home, you have maintenance, and this is true. If you own a home, you have a roof to replace and plumbing to fix and electrical to update. And if you live in a condo, you're in a shared building. So you have shared responsibility, and that a lot of these people should have known that. And to some extent, you're right. They should have known that buying a condo is gonna have added expenses. You don't just get to live in a beautiful condo on the water and not have any maintenance. And for a lot of them, they were paying that HOA fee, and they assumed that that HOA fee would cover that. But the problem was, a lot of these buildings are old, and they neglected the maintenance from prior years, and now it's getting dumped on everybody who are in the condos now. All right, so as I said earlier in the video, most of the condos that I looked at with my buyer had some type of assessment. And most of those assessments were small, but I did a research and I have found some bigger ones, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But you know, there's a lot of options with the assessment. And what I mean is, you know, when you're trying to buy the condo, what are some of the options? Obviously, one is the seller pays the assessment in full, and some are. And maybe they're keeping their house at a market value because they're taking care of the assessment. Others are lowering the price of their condo and being like, hey, I'll sell it real cheap, and you pay for the assessment. But not all condos will allow that, because there's a term called due at sale clause, and that means that any bills that are owed, maybe fines, assessments, any of those things are due from the owner at closing. So I'll give you an example. My buyer, who's under contract and is closing at the end of this month on a condo, we went and found a condo in Boca, and it was priced pretty low, but there was a $38,000 assessment. That's a pretty good size assessment. And of course, we didn't want to pay that, and the seller didn't want to pay that. So we worked out a deal where, and they had it priced lower than previous condos had sold for. So we worked out a deal where we came up a little bit on our price to where my customer was happy with it. It's still less than what other condos had sold for. And basically, we split the difference. So the seller is still gonna pay the assessment, but we brought the price up so that, in essence, we paid for half of the assessment. He's not gonna be living there anymore. He's not gonna get the benefits of all the things that were fixed, and it was quite extensive. My buyer is, so everyone was happy, and we should be closing in a few weeks. That's one option that could happen. And we've made it to Highland Beach. Highland Beach is absolutely beautiful, so if you are interested in buying a condo, because not all of them are dealing with the assessments, a lot of condo buildings did their work over all the years, and they did what they were supposed to, and they're perfectly fine. And you know, they may have small assessments, but they took care of the maintenance as it came along. So they did it over years, and they're in good shape. So if you are looking for a condo over here in Highland Beach, give me a call. It's an absolutely beautiful part of South Florida. It's situated right in between Boca and Delray, ocean, intracoastal side, beautiful little town, and you're close to all the shopping and dining you could ever want. By the way, it is absolutely beautiful here. I mean, this is a very upscale neighborhood, if you want to call it that. Look at these homes. They are gorgeous. So along with all the condos, you have all these beautiful homes here too. And I've never actually walked it. It's the first time I've ever walked this area. I did a video here years ago about Hillsborough, but it was a little further up when I parked the car up. This is the first time I've actually just walked on this sidewalk here. So it is hot today, but I'm getting my exercise in. So here's a new one. Look at this, they're demolishing one right behind us. I'm gonna put a brand new mega mansion there. Oh, look at that one. That's a beauty. You guys want to invite Palm Beaches Paul over for dinner? Most of the assessments were somewhat reasonable. You know, again, 38,000, that's a lot. And I saw a bunch of $15,000 and even $20,000 ones when I looked at other condos in West Palm Beach. But I also saw a lot of them that were $700, $1,000 assessment. So it all depends on the work that's being done, how many units there are, how many people you get to divide the assessment up between, all that good stuff. But the next couple assessments I'm going to talk about, they're horror stories. These poor people. I mean, when I knew it was going to get bad, I think everyone did, but these are pretty bad. So let me tell you about the first one. The first one is a guy who saved up some money and emptied out his 401k, I believe in 2019, and bought himself what was going to be his condo. It was like nice property to live in. Well, it gets worse. It goes downhill from there.
Now at 11, a shocking assessment for one condominium in Miami this week. They're being asked to pay $175,000 each towards their 40-year recertification.
A nice little spot to sit down here right on the Intracoastal Waterway. So let's talk about the ones that I call the horror stories. All right, so horror story number one. In 2019, this gentleman emptied out his 401k plan to buy a condo in a place in Miami called the Cricket Club. And he bought that unit for $190,000. Not bad, right? You know, it's a nice price for somebody. That's what he had in his 401. He's got his condo. He's happy. He's living the life. Fast forward to probably 2023. It doesn't say when. He gets hit with an assessment. The whole building does. The whole building gets hit with a $30 million assessment. You heard that right. $30 million. What was his portion of it? Take a guess. What do you think? 50,000? 80,000? Try $134,000. That's right. He bought it for $190 in 2019. I'm sure it went up in value because everything did during 2000, 2021 and all that. But he got hit with a $134,000 assessment. Where's he going to come up with that money? So here's what he did. He had to put it on the market. He was forced to sell. And he put it on the market for $350,000. What do you think he got for it? He got $110,000. That's right. He took a big loss on his dream, his dream home, his condo, his retirement, his equity, everything that so many people hope for. And he had to sell it for a major loss just to get out of there. That's just one of the horror stories that we're hearing in the news about condos here in South Florida. And again, it's not all the condos, people. There's plenty of condos, but there's also plenty of them who are having these kind of stories. And that's just one example. Listen to this next one. It gets worse. So another condo building in Miami called the Murano at Portofino, it has a $30 million assessment, but it's only phase one. There's a phase two assessment coming later on to these folks. And, well, listen to some of these fees that the people are getting hit with. So this one person posted on social media their first payment of $53,000. The total assessment per unit here is about $160,000 per unit. I just can't imagine getting hit with that kind of money. I mean, yes, a lot of these people have money, and some of these condos are probably worth millions. I don't know if this particular building is, but that's a lot of money to get hit with all of a sudden. It's like, and you can't not pay it. That is not an option. And we'll talk about some options you do have in a little bit, but you can't just ignore it. And like the last guy, he sold his condo for a loss. And if you've been following me and listening to me talk about all the condos, we're at 7.7 months of inventory right now. There's condos for sale everywhere. There's more condos available now than I've seen in the past 5 years. You may be asking, what exactly does a condo building need repaired that costs $160,000 per owner? Well, here's a list of some of the items for this building. So I have to use my cheat sheet to read some of these. So some of the repairs for the building were stucco, balconies, waterproofing, water intrusion, and other issues that buildings near the ocean commonly face. Some of the work also includes non-essential upgrades like replacing the luggage carts and removing and renovating the beach club, but does not include the pool deck work, which would be in the second phase. Now, I will say that the assessments are broken down based on the square footage of individual owners' condos. So if you own more than one condo, obviously you're going to get more assessment, but that's just the first assessment. They had a meeting about a second assessment for those condo buildings, and that assessment was coming in at something like $7.2 million. So these people are just getting hit left and right, and I don't know how some of them are even being able to afford to pay it, but I guess they have a lot of money. Now, as I said, some of these places do let you make payments on them. So on this particular one, it breaks down to about $27,400 per resident, and they could make 9 quarterly payments of about $3,045 for a little over 2 years. So, you know, it makes it a little bit more tolerable, I guess, you know, to make those payments, but still, that's a lot of money to dish out. But again, these are things you got to watch for when you're buying a condo. All right, we're going to talk about the worst one. This one just blew my mind. I can't believe this one. So that guy's probably not worrying about it though, although maybe he is. Maybe he sold his condo and he lives on his boat now. I doubt it. Someone with a boat that nice is sitting pretty. You know, as hot as it is, and it is hot out, man, it's a scorcher here. I love going on these walks. It's like, I typically hate walking, but when I'm videoing, I don't think about it. And so these are nice walks, and I walked pretty far from where I parked my car. So if any of you guys live down here in Delray, I parked all the way over by Trader Joe's, walked all the way over the bridge, and I'm all the way over here in Highland Beach. So some of y'all probably recognize this because I'm right next to I just passed the Delray Sands Hotel. So decent walk, but it just, man, look how beautiful it is. The sun is out. There'll be rain later, but right now it's a beautiful day. So that's why I love living here, guys. Even in the summer, I do hate the humidity, but days when it's hot like this and it's not humid, I can deal with it. There's actually an ocean breeze. Anyway, it's nice. I still love Florida, even with all of its craziness. All right, so let's talk about this last guy. This man, I feel bad for this guy. This is a pretty horrible story for his situation. All right, so imagine you're 79 years old. You bought a condo with your wife or yourself, whatever. It's your dream, your retirement condo. You're gonna be living here in Florida by the water, beautiful condo, relaxing, enjoying the Florida lifestyle. And then you get a letter from your condo board, and it says, we have to do repairs to the building to the tune of $30 million. And for your portion of that, you have to pay us.
The total assessment for the apartment we're sitting in is what?
Approximately $224,000.
Almost $250,000 is your assessment for your condo, and you're 79 years old.
We can't afford it. We can't afford it. We're going to go broke.
Now keep in mind, that's on top of the monthly maintenance that started out at $1,500 a month and is now all the way up to $3,000 a month. But now you have a $250,000 payment that you have to pay or you're going to lose your condo. So this particular person bought a condo down in Aventura on Williams Island, which is a fairly affluent area in South Florida. A lot of nice condos near the Aventura Mall, a lot of money. But he certainly wasn't expecting at 79 years old that he would get hit with an assessment for $250,000. Now, based on the story that I read, this gentleman obviously doesn't have that kind of money because he said, we don't know what we're gonna do or where we're gonna live. He's 79, folks. They don't know where they're gonna live. They can't afford this money and they're gonna end up losing their condo because who's gonna buy the condo with an assessment of $224,000 unless they get it for a steal, and even then, that's going to be an awfully hard condo to sell. I mean, you got to feel for this person. They obviously didn't plan for that. Sure, I know you guys say, hey, if you buy a condo, there's going to be maintenance and stuff, and you're right, but $224,000 due all at once? I don't think many people could deal with that unless they're multimillionaires, and even they would be upset about it. So according to the reports, they lived in the condo for 10 years and they had planned out their retirement. And this is where they're going to live. This is where they're going to live out their life, right? I said they're 79 years old. And then they got hit with this assessment, and they literally, I remember watching the report, the guy doesn't know what he's going to do. He can't afford it. And if you can't pay an assessment, a condo building can foreclose on your property, and they're doing it, and they will do it. So it's pretty sad. Now, theirs isn't the highest. Cloud on the bridge, sorry. Theirs isn't the highest assessment. Some condos in this unit, in this complex, have assessments of $400,000. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's more than most people pay to live in a house in America. And they have an assessment of $400,000. Something's got to be done about it, and I don't know what it is. And right now, people are paying the piper. That's what's happening. Anyway, like I was saying in the video earlier, there are some options for people. There are certain banks that will lend you money, a loan, to pay off the assessment. I don't know much about it. You'd have to do some research, but that is one option you might have. The other is that you can try to negotiate with the seller, like we did on my buyer. Maybe you work on paying some of the assessment, they pay some of the assessment. Those are some options that you have. Try to negotiate the deal, or maybe you negotiate that they pay the assessment and you pay a higher price. Everything is negotiable in real estate. And then the last option, I guess, is that if you can't afford to pay it, you lose your property, which is happening to some people, and that's pretty sad. So it's not a good situation, and we don't see it getting any better anytime soon. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. We'll follow this story as it happens and see how it unfolds. So, but be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep watching. Watch the other videos at the end. I got more great videos about living here in South Florida and wherever you are in the world. Get out and enjoy paradise. I'll talk to you next week.